So if you're brand new to video production, maybe video editing, I want to share 10 tips and tricks that I use all the time to save a ton of time and help me just kind of get going faster. So here we go in no particular order. Have a plan before you start. Now, there are times when you want to just what I call run and gun. You just want to like shoot some stuff and edit it together, or you want to just turn the camera on and just start talking like this. I love doing that. But depending on what you're doing, depending on how much time you have, even if somebody's not hiring you to produce for them, if you have a plan before you get in there, that can save you a ton of time. Like, what do you need to shoot? Who do you need to interview? Maybe even where the camera is going to be set before you even get there. So plan it out, and that will save you a ton of time. Shoot only what you need and delete what you don't. Now, I'm going to get probably a little pushback on the delete part, so let me hold that for just a second. But what I mean by this is, again, if you're new and you're limited on time and you really want to have a shorter production window and not a ton to edit, then really only shoot what you need. Years ago, I worked in television with a guy, and he could go out to a fire, I mean a major fire with all of these fire trucks and emergency vehicles, and he would come back with one tape. This was on tape at the time, and he may have only shot like 10 minutes worth of stuff, and his name was Bob. I'm like, Bob, how could you do that? And he goes, I just shoot what I need. And I learned something there, that overshooting has its place. I went to Ecuador a few years ago. I shot a ton of footage. I was there on a mission trip with my church. I didn't know everything I would need, so I overshot. But a way to save time and a good tip for your production is to shoot only what you need. Now, about the deletion part, I do believe there's power in saving stuff, but at some point, whether it's cloud or external drive, you're probably going to run out of space. So what I do a lot of times, if I'm doing a take, and I know it's just a busted take, as I call it, I delete it right then. And then that helps me in the post-production, knowing that I just have the one take that is good to go with. Organize your media before you start. Now, what I do is I keep all of my stuff on an external hard drive. So when I shoot on the card in camera, or I'm just recording directly to my computer, then what I will do is I will take those media files and I'll label them. I'll put like open or close or tip 1 or tip 2, whatever it is. So when I get into the edit, a lot of times I can just drop those right into the timeline. I may do it the same thing with music or stock footage. I'll even create folders to show all the assets. So I may have one that says B-roll. I may have one that says thumbnails, because I may shoot the thumbnail as I'm doing the video, or music or stock footage. If I'm doing interviews, I may do folders of each person I've interviewed. That takes a little bit more time up front, but will save a ton of time, especially when you get into the edit. Then, if you go back and you're searching, it's easier just to find your stuff. Create shortcuts. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Like, I edit in Final Cut Pro, so I have a few keyboard shortcuts that I know or either have created that I can just do to help me edit faster. But you can also create shortcuts within like the menu or within like effects and things like that. So if there's certain effects that you like to use, and this could even include audio effects, you can create a shortcut to that. And then rather than trying to go through all of those steps, you either just drop that effect on or call it up, and that will save you, again, a ton of time. Use templates and plugins that come with your editing program. I'm on Final Cut Pro, and I do use some third-party plugins, especially for motion VFX. I really love a lot of theirs, and I've done some videos on those if you want to see them. But you don't really need all of that. Final Cut Pro comes with amazing titles, animations, transitions, effects. And what that does is that will save you a ton of time. Like if you know you want like a shaky handheld effect, Final Cut has that. So you don't have to recreate that, which you can do, and it can take some time. You can literally just drop that onto your footage and it gives you that effect. Now again, you can buy the plugins, but this is something you can do. And in Final Cut Pro, you can actually customize them and save those off as what's called presets. And then you don't have to recreate that again. You just drop it on there. Huge, huge time saver. Use AI tools. Now, this is the only time I'm going to bring up AI tools in this video, but one of the ones I use quite often is called Recut. Recut is very simple. I can take my video, I can drop it in there, and it immediately edits out pauses and silence, and you can even go in and tweak it. Then I have two options to export it. I can export it as the clip, it's ready to go, it's already been chopped up for me, or I can export it and then bring it into Final Cut Pro and even edit it more. Now, it's not 100% perfect, but it can save a ton of time, and that's just one of the many, many tools out there. Shoot as live. When I was in television, we used to call this live to tape. Now I jokingly call it live to cloud because nobody shoots on tape anymore. But it's basically in the mindset of, I'm going to do this as if I were live. Because when you're live, it's one and done. You don't have that redo. You can't, okay, let's do take two. It's live. And so what you do, you plan it out, kind of going back to one of our other tips. But then you know going in that I'm going to go with it, I'm going to roll with it. If I make mistakes, if I have to hem and haw, if I have to grab something. And what that will do is it'll give you a different kind of looking video, but you may actually kind of like it because then you're done. Go live. So this kind of goes with the other one, but this time I really mean go live and avoid any type of editing at all. Now, I've heard many, many people say, well, going live is a lot easier. Now, it can be if you're like one of these guys like me. Sometimes it's just like, I just need to go live. I haven't gone live in a while, and I just go and I'm sharing and I'm talking, and whoever shows up, we hang out. But you can also prepare your live stream like you might be preparing a video. So do you want to do a presentation? Do you want to do some screen sharing? But the thing about live is when you're done, and then you kind of have the extra benefit of, YouTube also serves it up again as a video. But again, live streaming, totally another option. Avoid overproducing. Okay, so it's confession time. This one is really, really hard for me because I came from a TV background. I was in TV for a long, long time, and especially in the creative services department, marketing and production. And so we would have committees look at videos before they would ever go out. I mean, we would sometimes just edit the life out of them. It's kind of ingrained in me to jump into an over-editing, over-producing realm. So if you don't come from that background, you have an advantage over me for that. But it's so easy because, well, I get in there and I've got all these effects and I can do all this other stuff and I can over-edit it and all this. And then what ends up happening is you end up over-editing, over-producing something that really didn't need that, which then takes you more time. So let your video breathe, or let the video topic dictate how you produce it. Let the tools do the work for you. So here's what I mean. Cameras, for example, have gotten so much better. Like I'm shooting this on a Canon M50 Mark II, and it has auto white balance, which means it will detect the light in the room and set it for me. Now, there's some downsides to that, but a lot of times I use auto white balance because I'm letting the camera, the tool, do it for me. Same thing with editing. There are tools in there that you can do auto enhancement for your audio. Like one of the features I absolutely love on Final Cut Pro is voice isolation. So what I do is I pop that on there and it makes my voice pop a little. Loudness is another one I use. So in terms of audio and video, there's all these tools that can enhance your videos and your audio so much that you just let the tool kind of do the tweaking for you, and again, can save you a ton of time. Now, however you produce, I think the most important thing is that you enjoy it. It can be frustrating at times, but you should at least enjoy creating and using your gifts to create, whether it's for a client or just your own personal use. And there ain't nothing wrong with that either. So I hope these tips help you produce and use your creative gifts and share those with the world. Thanks so much for watching.